Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Rewind that. It's your girl Miss K. If this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe if you like the vibe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Today, guys, we are doing our Throwback Thursday movie, and that is Hoodlum. Hoodlum is based on the story of Bumpy Johnson. Many of you know that I absolutely love the show Godfather of Harlem. And so, as it's nearing the premiere, I believe that's going to be January 15th. So, here we go. It's time to talk about the Bumpy Johnson from the 1930s, okay? During the Depression, or a little bit, I think this is a little bit after the Depression, okay? So let's get into this. Actually, before I start off, guys, what I love to do first is ask you guys a question. If you watch Godfather of Harlem, which actor would you rather have? And this might be difficult. So for Godfather of Harlem, would you have liked a continuation of Lawrence Fishburne to take that role? Or are you have to be good with Forest Whitaker, but like, would you have been interested in Lawrence Fishburne still playing Bumpy Johnson? Because he did so well in Hoodlum. But for me, I'm happy with the performance of Forest Whitaker. But I just wanted to ask that question anyway. I think either way, it would have been great. Because, like I said, Lawrence Fishburne did the daggone thing in this as well. So, doesn't really matter. But anyway, let's get into this, guys. So, Bumpy Johnson, we start off with Bumpy Johnson, and he's coming out of prison. He's being released from Sing Sing. And as soon as he gets on the streets, the drama starts, okay? We have Bubs coming down to he's coming uptown, and he's like, it's a new day out here, okay? It's a new freaking day, and y'all gonna have to start answering to Dutch Schultz, okay? The Dutchman. He's the one who's running the numbers around here. So if he finds out anybody else is doing something other than, running anything other than Dutch, then there's a problem. He's busting heads, all of this stuff. And remember, this is a black man who is working for Dutch Schultz. And this is kind of like a repeated issue throughout the movie. So it especially because this is the 1930s, and Dutch Schultz, he pushes that word around like crazy. The N-word. He's definitely a freaking racist. So anyway, while all this is going on, Bumpy is there, and he has he's witnessing this whole thing. You know what I'm saying? But what can he do right now? Hey, let me say hello to some people. Forrest represents where Bumpy is now. Absolutely. And I'm so fine with that. In real life, Bub and Bumpy were friends. Well, as we see at the end of the movie, they sure did come together. So I totally could see that. Hey, Eric S. All right, so let's move on, guys. So what happens now is that after all of this, Bumpy makes his rounds, right? First, he goes to see his cousin Illinois. Then he goes to see the Queen, right? She tells him about the meeting with the Dutchman, and Bumpy wants to go because he wants to be her bodyguard, right? And so I'm not sure if it was before or after the meeting, but I do want to mention that Illinois, his cousin, gave him a gun. So it's like Bumpy, for whatever reason he went to jail. I think it was for killing someone. So he was basically picking up right where the heck he left off. Okay, guys, and let me know if the music is bothering you. I could hear it in my ear, so I don't know if you guys can hear it. I think I might turn it off though, because I don't want to distract me. But anyway, guys, so what happens is they go to the meeting. And, the Queen, she already kind of have her own little bodyguard, and he ain't little. So they go to the meeting, and Dutch Schultz drops the balls, the cojones of a dead man on the table, okay? Because before this meeting, it was a Hispanic man, and he was saying that, he got big balls, and he ain't gonna take the mess or whatever from Dutch Schultz, and Dutch killed him. And I guess they cut his, stuff out, and then they presented it and dropped them right in front of the Madam Queen, okay? And so, they were not feeling this. Like, how you going to drop some dead man's balls on this table in front of the queen? This is the queen. So, they was already like drawing their guns out like, we not doing this. So what winds up happening is the meeting ends, right, guys? But here's the problem. After that, so after the meeting, Dutch leaves, and as he's storming out of the meeting, he says to Bub and his other guy, he said, "We have a problem. We got an effing problem." Right. And so one of the other dudes was like, "Oh, don't worry, she's gonna fold." He was like, "I ain't talking about her." So he saw in this meeting who had the power, and because he saw how Bumpy was handling everybody, like, all right, y'all lower your guns and all that. Like, he was the one that had, what I'm saying, the say so. Okay. So he's seeing, all right, I see my problem is not about to be this dude here. It's gonna be, it's not about to be the madam, it's gonna be this dude over here. Okay, so we're gonna get back to that. Oh, actually, no. So what happens is after the meeting, he puts a hit out on the queen. So they're going to the opera for her birthday, and they put a hit out. And this scene right here just let me know that Bumpy was a bad dude, okay? Especially when he took that shotgun and he cocked it basically with one hand, that one arm. Instead of, how people take the shotgun and they like that, he just said boom, boom, like that. And I was like, oh, this guy is tough. Anyway, just exciting, okay? This is one of my favorite movies. But honestly, after watching the actor, I forgot his name, but I think it's Tim Roth. The way he acted in this, the one that plays the Dutchman, the way he curses every second, the way he was eating the apple, just his obnoxious ways, it kind of made me feel like, okay, this may not be one of my favorite movies anymore, because he just got on my nerve way too much. Like, I forgot all about how much he gets on my nerves, and also how many people die, like how sad it gets toward the end. It was just like, yeah, this movie, I love it, but I can't put it in like one of my tops anymore. I don't know. I'm feeling like a change of heart because of all of that. So anyway, Madam Queen, her bodyguard, is killed during this time, and so is a whole bunch of other of the Dutchman's men. Okay, so let's move on. So now we have the prosecutor, Tom Dewey, and he's one of the people that's in Lucky Luciano's pocket, and he wants Dutch Schultz handled. Like, he keeps calling him by his real name. I forgot what it was. But he tells Lucky that Schultz is a psychopath, and he wants to know how long he has to worry about him. So Lucky tells him, I got this. I'm going to take care of him. All right. So next, I feel like Lucky is just way too lax about the situation. And I also feel like he took too long to handle the situation, which we will get to. Like, it led to Dewey having to give him an ultimatum. Okay, because he really was he was just chilling. It was just like, oh yeah, we'll handle it. The dude, Dutchman, was definitely out of control. All right. So now we also have that Bumpy in Illinois, they steal the Dutchman's money, right? So, when some people are coming around to get they're making the runs to collect the money and stuff like that, they stopped it. So they had one guy kind of like hostage, and then they went and punched, Bumpy went outside and he punched the driver in his face and basically just robbed the whole truck. And then they came out and they gave it to the less fortunate in the community, because Illinois was like, what are we going to do with all the Dutch money? And Bumpy was like, we're going to put it right back where it belongs. Okay. Because first of all, Dutch has no business being uptown when he can do his business elsewhere. Okay. Harlem is supposed to be like, the blacks are supposed to have Harlem on lock. Anyway, so now Lucky, he wants a piece of the pie. And it's not in a way that it sounds, right? He wants a piece of the pie in Harlem in exchange for helping Dutch with the problems that he's been causing, right? Because it's all about the whole situation that happened, why Dewey was calling him, because it was all in the papers about the hit that the Dutchman put out on Madam Queen, right? So he's basically bringing too much attention from law enforcement. That's what Luciano is telling the Dutchman. Like, it's too much. It's too hot out here, right? So Dutch tells them that, so you're going to fix the problem for what? Like a piece of the pie, for a percentage or whatever. And so he's telling them that, I came to you guys a year ago about going uptown And you said it was a waste of your time. You know what I'm saying? You said that what he said, it was nigga pennies or whatever, right? So now you could take a flying F, right? Is all he does is curse. So Lucky tells him, okay, you know, if that's how you feel, and you always missing the point, by the way, but if that's how you feel, now you're on your own. And if you need help from us in the future, the price just went up. So my thing with this dude over here is like, how is he able to talk to this is the 5 families, right? The meeting that he is having, the Dutchman, right? And he's with Luciano. This is the 5 families. Like these are real characters. I think I looked up Dutch Schultz a while ago, and I don't remember him being real. I think he was a fictional character. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I forgot, honestly. But I know everybody else, Bumpy, that's a real person. Luciano, you know, they had Genovese in there. They had all the people up that was the original members of the 5 families, because Luciano is the one that started that whole thing, like the 5 families and everything. So the thing that I have that I'm trying to figure out with this guy is, who the heck are you? He's not Italian, and I'm talking about the Dutchman. He's not Italian, and his attitude, the way he's talking to them, these are a bunch of mob bosses, and he's saying to them they can take a flying F, talking to them anyway, and nobody's doing anything. And I'm just like, how does that even work like that? Like, he should have fear, at least, you know, even if he doesn't have fear, he should at least feel some type of respect, right? Like, I know these dudes will get at me if I'm causing a problem, and he doesn't care. So that's my thing. Okay, so Supremo said that he's real. He's Jewish, right? And he's real. Okay, thank you. Yeah, because I don't remember. I feel like there was some. You know what it is? I think I'm getting it mixed up with what's that show? Boardwalk Empire. And I think there was somebody that wasn't real was Enoch. Was it Nucky Thompson? I don't think he was real. I'm trying to get my memory together, guys. I don't know, but whatever. It doesn't matter. So Dutch Schultz, real guy. Okay, great. All right. So he's able to carry on. He's crunching, eating the apples and all that, just being totally rude. It was just like, ugh. Anyway, so Madam Queen, hun, is back. So Dutch, hold on. Supremo says some of the Jews back then were just as tough as the Italians. No, I get it, right? Because I believe that. Like, we have what's his name, who was also a part of Murder Inc. along with Lucky Luciano. That was Meyer Lansky. So I do know that. But my thing is from watching the movie part, right? So I'm gonna have to do a little more recent research on the Dutchman. But he doesn't seem like his organization was that large to be trying. How do you go head to head with the 5 families, basically? I mean, he wasn't really going head to head with them. It's not like he declared war, but he was just so like, bro, you're an organization on your own, but whatever. I guess, it takes a lot more than just an insult sometimes, right? There you go. All right, so Madam Queen, guys, she's mad at Bumpy because she felt like he dishonored her, right? So she's mad at Bumpy for going over her head and stealing from Schultz, right? And dishonoring her name. She tells Bumpy that she knows why he's sticking so close to her, because he's ambitious. Like, you think I don't see your ambition? So anyway, Bumpy tells the Queen, I think that you're scared of the Dutchman. And she says, being scared is a good thing sometimes. All right. But he's telling her, look, I'm ready to go to war. I can beat him. I'm telling you. And she says, well, where you think that war is going to be fought? It's not going to be fought on Park Place or Park Street, whatever she said that was, basically wherever downtown, right, where the white folks are. It's going to be fought right here in Harlem. And he selfishly says that he is prepared to deal with the consequences. And she's like, well, what about everybody else? You know what I'm saying? And it is so funny that in this moment, he says this out of his mouth. But when we start to see things unfold, you could see that it does not sit well with him. Okay, but it's like he didn't see that far ahead. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I get it. I understand somebody had to check this dude. So I'm not mad at Bumpy for, standing up and doing whatever he had to do. I'm definitely not mad. And so, um, Supremo says Nucky on Boardwalk Empire was based on a real life figure named Nucky Johnson. He wasn't a gangster, but he was involved with them to a degree. Right. I found out that it was something that had to do that was not the way they portrayed him in the show. That's what it was. A lot of the stuff that I have researched or looked up, it was years ago, so it's not really fresh in my head. But I knew that the whole Nucky thing was not the way they made it seem, like he was this big head in an organization and stuff like that. So I'm also thinking about going and revisiting that show actually, but I just have to clear my schedule. Like right now we got BMF coming, we have The Godfather of Harlem coming, we got Power Book 2 Ghost season 3 coming out. So I mean, once those are all out the way, I'm probably gonna try to do Boardwalk Empire to pick that up, because I really enjoyed that show as well, and especially it's got the mob element in there, and I always like that. You'll get Lucky Luciano in there, Meyer Lansky, Al Capone, all those people. So it's pretty interesting, especially once they come along. All right, so where was I? All right, so now the Dutch has hired these brothers, and they're hitmen, and they're called the Sulky Brothers. Okay, it's spelled Salke, pronounced Sulky. So they supposed to be the best in the business. Okay, I also want to talk about the fact that Bubs back there kept spitting in the freaking plant, and that just got on my nerves. Like, what is going on? Why are you spitting in a freaking plant? Like, who does that? But anyway, so after the Sulky brothers leave, I forgot who said this, but I think Foley might have said this, because Foley had come in, and he said something about, oh, the Sulky brothers. Could you imagine one of your sisters getting screwed by them or something like that? And then I think Dutch was like, there could be worse. And they looked over at Bubs, right? So whoever said, I might not have the exact people saying it right, but my point is that him being the only black man, well, one of the only black men, especially somebody that's in the room working with Dutch, he's like the butt of their jokes. We have more insults coming later on, which I will talk about. So I feel like, him dealing with this, and then the later proposition that he gets, it's something that probably helped push him to make that decision, but we'll talk, right? So Supremo says that was the young Bumpy. He was a bit reckless. Yeah, I would say that. He was reckless. So Officer Foley comes in, guys, and when he does come in, Bub says to him, yeah, you're killing. He didn't say kill, he said, you beat up any niggas lately? And even though I don't like Foley, I like the fact that he said to Bubs, no, I don't recall. Did you? Because at the same time, it's like a reminder that, yo, you are freaking like a backstabber. You know what I'm saying? You're a traitor. How you gonna say that's something like that to me when you basically doing that yourself? You helping us, right? So if I killed a N-word, you out here doing the same thing, bro. So how you talking? Anyway, so he's here for a reason. Officer Foley, right? Officer Foley is here to tell, hey, Mike, it's okay. We're still kind of in the beginning. So he tells, where am I at? Yeah, he tells the Dutchman that a judge wants $40,000 basically to have him in his pocket, right? Because the Queen offered $20,000 to get rid of Schultz. So now you got to top that. If you want to work with me, or you want me in your pocket, then you're going to have to double it. Okay. So now, guys, during a house party, we got this woman named Miss Fillmore. Okay. And she was praising Bumpy for killing the folks during the shootout, the Dutchman's guys. Right. And she's like, oh, he's a killing machine. And all of this is being said in front of Francine, and she is not happy, guys. She is totally bothered. And after the fact, she asks Bumpy if he has any remorse, right? And he's just like, haven't you ever wanted to here it is. It says, is there nothing in this world that you would love enough that you would kill for it or die for it, right? And she was just like, I don't know. And before he asked her this, he had said to her, what was I supposed to do? Like, they came after the queen, and if he's basically saying that he was trying to protect the queen and do this and that, like, what the heck else was he supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that, like, if you're not a killer, right? But if somebody was coming after you, it's like kill or be killed, or coming after your family, you turn into one just off of survival, but it doesn't mean that you're a killer, but you're going to turn into one. If, because some people, they got the fight or flight, right? Some people going to run for their lives, honey. That might be the first thing I do. But if you back me in a corner, baby, it's fight time. We not, ain't nobody going out like that. Okay. So, she says, I don't know, but guess what? She about to find out, y'all. She is about to find out if she will kill for somebody that she loves, because the hitmen are here. The hitmen, they're here. And so as they're sleeping, I'm, getting ready to go to sleep, and they're talking. We got the Sulky brothers. They done entered the building, and they're plucking off all of Bumpy's bodyguards. Okay. And the way they're doing it is so, like, it's so classy. Like, they're not doing it recklessly or anything or viciously. They're just shooting them, like, they, kind of like how a doctor gives a needle, like, gently. That's how they're doing it. They got the guy, they shot him, and then he leaned his head to the side like this. Then the other brother comes in and puts the cover over him like he's tucking him into bed. I'm like, yo, what the heck is this? So then there's one guy that was alert, though. And they're like, yo, what the heck are you doing here with this and that, right? So then one brother starts singing, Silent Night, Holy Night. And that caught him off guard, and he was a done deal. I'm like, this is some psycho stuff, okay? But I guess this is why they're called the best in the business, because they gonna do however they do, and they're not out to do it viciously. But until they get to Bumpy, though, when they got to Bumpy, they pulled out this, I don't know what the heck that was. All right. But it was like I feel like it's mighty like a hammer, but it had like this really sharp edge. It was like, I don't know what those things are, like a Reaper or something like that. But them things, man, they was trying to break his freaking, I don't know, rip his face off with it. And that's when Francine catches her body. All right. So now she know, right? There we go. So by this time, guys, like, I have not brought up Mary or nothing like that. And I also didn't bring up Francine and how he met Francine and started courting her and all this, and they liked each other, blah, blah, blah. Francine is a, she loves the Lord and everything, and she does not want Bumpy to be in that life. So I also forgot to mention Mary, aka Pigfoot. And, she's supposed to be a married woman, but I think like her husband is estranged or something like that, because she be playing around and flirting too much with Illinois. So she's still mad at Illinois for putting her out that time when Bumpy came back, and, they looked like they was about to get it on or whatever. But then, Bumpy came in, and he was like, all right, we're going to have to finish this later or whatever. So she was very pissed off about that. So she's still kind of, giving him a hard time. I just wanted to bring that up. All right, let me just make sure that I am on the right track, guys. Okay. So let's get to this part. So now we're at one of the clubs, and Francine is feeling very guilty. And the ladies are like, what the heck was you supposed to do, girl? Let that man kill Bumpy? Listen, we can't be letting the good men go to waste, girl. You did the right thing. Okay. So Officer Foley, he comes in and he places Madam Queen under arrest for illegal gambling, right? So now Bumpy has control of the bank, and his first order of business is to change the routes and beef up security, right? That's one of the things. Then this kid named Tyrone suggests that they put their slips on a different color paper, right? Because a lot of people are confused, right? They're like, first of all, we got everybody on the same, all the slips are the same color. So nobody knows if they're buying from Bumpy, the Queen, or if they're buying from the Dutchman. So the kid comes up with a very smart suggestion, like, and we're going to put it on different color paper, so this way we know if we buying from the Queen. So they said, okay, we're going to put it on green, right? Green slips. And so also the kid was like, he wants to run for Bumpy now. This is not the first time this kid has asked. I'm talking about Tyrone. It's not the first time he asked. He asked at that party where the lady was bigging him up, calling him a killing machine. He a killing machine, right? So Bumpy said no to him. But this time he's like, I can do it, this and that, just basically showing Bumpy that he's very confident about it. And everybody was like, boy, go sit down some daggone way. But then Bumpy winds up giving him a chance, which he should not have done, right? So I'm going to read real quick before I go on. I'm going to read Supremo's trivia, a bit of a trivia. Bumpy Johnson survived 27 assassination attempts. Wow. When he became the boss of Harlem, all kinds of folks wanted his head. I could imagine. Hey, Lil Rock. Thank you for coming. Listen, Lil Rock, I know you said you're here for the spoilers, but after this, why don't you give this movie a chance? It's very good. All right. So, during this meeting, we also hear whispers say to Bumpy, it's your time, Bumpy. Right. And that's why I kind of had that quote going across the screen because, Bumpy does become a big deal. And I just thought that was a very, it was a pivotal moment in his, I hate to say career, but that's what it was. He may have been doing some illegal things, but it was his career, So anyway, guys, after this, a war breaks out and it is fierce. Hey, Tina. And it's fierce, guys. Bodies are dropping everywhere. But meanwhile, the money is coming in, okay? We see Bumpy draping his woman with pearls and furs and all this stuff. She got the furs on and he's wrapping his hands around her, his arms around her and everything. Listen, she's living the life with this guy. Okay, everything is okay until stuff really hits the fan and it gets real. And right now it's getting real. Okay, and one of the main people as far as the closeness and sadness that gets hit is Tyrone. So Tyrone winds up getting killed. I mean, just like that, he just got involved and he's done. And he was just a kid. I think he was 17 years old. So you can see that this really bothers Bumpy. And he goes to the funeral home, to make sure that everything is laid out fine for him. Everything is paid for and all that stuff. And it's just a sad situation. Before I continue, guys, I want to say something, and I forgot to get a picture. When I was a kid and I used to watch the Big Bad Wolf, the Three Little Pigs and the Big Bad Wolf or whatever, the Big Bad Wolf looks like this guy right here. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody because he's a real person, but he always creeps me out. Like every time I watch this movie, he creeps me out because he reminds me of the Big Bad Wolf. And there's just something about him. Like he just has this real eerie, like he gives off this eerie feeling because, he's a mortician and stuff. And the way he acts about it, like he's just creepy about it. Like, thank God for Bumpy Johnson. That man done brought prosperity back into Harlem. And I'm sorry, I don't know if y'all get what I'm saying, but he was spooky. I should have had like a closer picture of him. And then especially when he has the top hat on and everything, and he's sitting on the carriage and everything. He just gives me creepy vibes, like scary vibes. Like I wish I can talk about it, guys. I don't have time, but he reminds me of this urban legend story where this woman dreamt about a stagecoach driver who was leading a funeral procession. Okay, that is what he reminds me of. Some of y'all probably know the story, but he was like room for one more in the dream that she had. And then when she went to the mall and she got in the elevator, she had this dream. The same dude that was in her dream was the stagecoach driver, and he said room for one more. It freaking scared the crap out of her. She did not get on that thing, and it wind up crashing, and the people died on that elevator. That's the reason why he creeps me out. Okay, I'm sorry that I spent so much time. I'm sorry that I spent so much time on that, but I just had to. It was just too much. All right. So now, like I said, Tyrone, he gets killed, right? And the mom kind of like spit. She didn't really spit. But when he came to, give her condolences and everything, give her his condolences, she kind of was like, You know, like you ain't no hero and all of this stuff. And I don't know if he said that he died with honor. I forgot what he said. And she was like, what are you talking about? He's dead. Like, you know, and she's just basically saying that you ain't really nothing, Bumpy. And he felt, I believe that this had to make him feel like trash. I'm gonna, once we get later on into like one of the scenes with him and his cousin, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this. I'm going to refer back to this. All right. So I don't have time for this, Mike. I don't. I seriously do not. Okay. Tyrone is actually Breeze. I'm so over it. And y'all be doing that because you know I can't stand when people be saying stuff like that. Unbelievable. Hold on, guys. Bumpy said he died with honor. Right. He said he died with honor. And she's like, what? He's dead. Like, what are you talking about? He died with honor. You must be out your mind. All right, guys. So one of my favorite scenes of the movie is coming up. But first, we have to talk about the fact that there's a big problem because almost everybody in Harlem, probably everybody in Harlem, has played the number 235 because of this whole headline in the paper. And so, you know, they like, oh gosh, if this number hit, child, we're gonna have to pour out some money. We're gonna take a hit with the bank, right? So we have Francine over there saying, well, I was told by Mary. I think she said Mary told her this, that the Dutchman be changed. She changed his number to 236, basically cheating. And Bumpy was like, no, we're not doing that. People pay they play the number, they expect to get paid. And I love that part about him. He has integrity. So I definitely love that about Bumpy. Okay. So now he gets his banana split, honey. Okay. Get that banana split now. Thank God, honey, that he caught it because Francine was about to be, you know how y'all fellas, you know how your woman get. She wants your food, okay? I want to taste your food. She was about to be on that. I'm ready to taste my man's food stuff. And he was like, you never be wanting none of my split. And isn't it crazy? Isn't it ironic that he says you never want my split? But here's the time that this freaking split is poisoned. That's when she was about to take a bite. But he realized, wait a minute, there's freaking almonds on here. Why are there almonds on my split? So then he calls the guy over. He's like, what the heck is this? So, child, this is a new guy, first of all. And so the new guy, the way he's trying to handle it is, oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to take it back and switch it. But he's like, no. Like Bumpy was not trying to let this go. Like, who did this? Because for years, my split has been being made a certain way. And you already know, like he was talking to the owner of the shop. I don't do that. So the owner of the shop is very, very frightened at this point. And he said that you wanted that boy to work here. And he said, who said that? For this, at this point, we see in this picture right here that Bumpy is telling him, go ahead, eat some of the food because he done smelt it. So he knows it's rat poison. And he got it all. You know how when you feeding a baby, you kind of like wiping it on their mouth or you trying to like gather the food. So he's kind of like brushing it across his mouth and everything because the kid, he didn't want to take none. And so he said, who told you to work here? And then he said, Valley. So Valley, first of all, Valley was already trying to silence the young man. And, you know, let me do him, Bumpy. Let me do him. Valley and his horrible hairdo. He's like, let me do him. They're like, Valley, calm down now. So once the old man says that Valley is the one who told the young man that Bumpy wanted him to work there, Valley jumps to the old man like he's trying to hurt him. So now it's like, it's people got to go. You see the men of Bumpy moving folks, customers out. All right, now we're about to shut it down. Now we shutting the business down. They closing blinds. This kind of reminds me of that scene from the Bronx Tale when the bikers came in and they was starting their ish. And they was like, all right, they started locking doors and everything. And then they just wreaked havoc on them folks up in there, tore them up. Anyway, so it's about that time with this situation, okay? Nobody can come in right now because we're dealing with some serious stuff, okay? So Valley, while Whispers is choking up this dude, Valley is getting cornered by some other folks. And Francine, poor baby, is watching. She's like, Bumpy, please don't. No, Bumpy, don't. So he has to tell Francine, you gotta leave, okay? Because this is my business, babe. I'm sorry. That's what I gotta do. It's all right. It's all right. Listen, guys, did y'all like how cool Bumpy was this whole time? Like when she was concerned, he's like, it's all right, it's all right. You know, it's not okay. Somebody about to get killed. It's not okay. Nothing about this situation is okay. But yes, Mike, this is my favorite scene of the movie. So, I mean, this was such a good scene. But anyway, so now he's telling the kids, sit down. You about to eat this. I want you to eat that. Okay, the kid is shaking. I mean, ooh, shaking hand like this. You hear I mean, it was just, I felt bad for the kid. I'm not gonna lie. I felt bad for the kid, but like, there's just certain things you gotta know that you can't do. You just gotta know. I'm not messing with Bumpy's food. I'm not putting rat poison on Bumpy's food. Are you stupid? You try that. You gamble with your life and do that. I'm not doing that crap. So, anyway, folks, let me just make sure that I'm staying on point with my notes and everything. All right. So next we see that Valley, he's in his little spot and he's crying. They in a little dark area, dark place, wherever they got him. He is crying up a storm like, please. This was cracking me up. Bumpy, please. When they talked about the ring, he said, I had that ring for years. And he was like, you a merciful man. And freaking, what's his name? Illinois was laughing. I had to capture this because Illinois was cracking up. And I'm like, I feel you, Illinois. It is funny. I'm sorry. It's funny. The man about to die, but it's funny. So he like, don't worry. I'm not going to do nothing to you, So Bumpy leaves. And, first of all, when he has some kind of tea or something like that, I got to demonstrate for y'all. Because he had tea or something. Valley had the tea. And child, he was shaking like a freaking leaf. Talking about something. He was shaking like a leaf. He was so scared. And so we find out that it was the Dutchman who paid him. He paid him $3,000 to kill Bumpy, to do all of this or whatever. And, it's like, what? $3,000. I know that's a lot in the 1930s, but you're gonna run out of that. You know what I'm saying? Or what was that? You was gonna kill Bumpy and then go and work for the Dutchman? He probably wouldn't have had you. No, maybe he would have, but whatever. I ain't got time for all of this. So they bring my boy Whispers out, right? And Whispers told my son, "How you doing, Valley?" And just, it is what it is. I felt bad for him too after Bumpy Pimp slapped him. Yeah, it's just sad bringing these kids into this thing. So anyway, guys, so now we got Bumpy and his crew busting up in the Cotton Club, okay? And it was like, wow, because no Negroes are allowed in here, you know what I'm saying? So what the heck is going on? But I just love the gangster of it, So he's busting up in the Cotton Club with his boys, and Bumpy tells Schultz that if he doesn't shut down his operations by tomorrow, he's going to shut them down for him, okay? And, what's this guy's name? Schultz was like, I thought all you niggas, ran in packs. Where's my guy? What do you call it? Valley. Where's he at? Right. And so he's like, Valley couldn't be here. Listen, I don't have all of the verbatims right now. Normally I try to come through with the different quotes. I only got the one going across the screen for y'all. Y'all know the point, right? He ain't here. He had somewhere to be. Can't make it. And then he drops his finger down, the finger with the ring on it. He drops it on the table. And there's a white woman that's like, it's just, and the owner of the club is not happy, like, get the F out of here, all this stuff. And when he did this, Schultz was ready to do what he had to do right there. Like, he was so angry that he wanted to kill Bumpy right then and there. But Bumpy wasn't scared. He didn't flinch or nothing. So, he letting it be known, like, listen, you don't shut your stuff down, I'm going to shut it down for you. Like, I'm not playing with you no more, okay? So he was screaming, I know where your high hella B is living. I know where your nigga B is living. Whatever. So I hate this guy, his voice and everything. I'm not talking about the actor. I'm just talking about him. Like, he's one of the most annoying characters I've ever seen. Ugh. Like, I just really hate him. Okay, so now we have where Bumpy and Illinois, they rob. I'm sorry, they didn't rob it. They go downtown to blow up Schultz's warehouse. And guys, like, whatchamacallit, Illinois was talking a little bit too much. Like, he done said too much. You know how sometimes, obviously, when you're doing something you're not supposed to do, when you do something you're not supposed to do, and then you kind of talk too much, and then the one thing that you say was like, tag, you shouldn't have said it because now people know that you're lying. Like, if you would have just kept your mouth shut, let everything go through, you would have been good. So my point is here, Illinois, first of all, the guy from Boys to Men was telling them that, listen, this bomb right here, you have to get out at a certain time. You cannot play around. All right. So he's scared as heck right now. Like, we got to be going. And he done made himself have a lisp and everything. Like, we got to be going. Right. So the white guy's like, what is your problem? And first of all, he said, I just don't understand why Eugene couldn't be here. And he was like, oh, Eugene, he done got himself as drunk of a fiddler's bee. And it's like, what? So he screwed up by saying that because Eugene is a Mormon and he doesn't drink. So now the dude is saying, okay, y'all stay here and don't freaking move. So, of course, I'm going to go get the supervisor. So, of course, as soon as he walks away, they have to get the heck out of there because they cannot waste no time. There's a bomb, right? So they just make it out of there. Everything's blowing up. First, they got folks shooting at them and everything. Like, it's a very dangerous job. It was almost a suicide mission. All right. But they made it through. So meanwhile, all this is going on. So this is the problem here, guys. Mary, she don't have nothing to do with this. And this is when things are starting to hit the fan. It was already bad enough for Tyrone, but Tyrone was actually in the business and doing things. Mary don't have nothing to do with it, but does Schultz care? No. So just because she doesn't know where to find Bumpy or where to find Illinois, she's killed. So on the way back from, this whole little blowing up the warehouse thing, this is when Illinois finds Pigfoot. And so this is like the turning point in Illinois' character. And it's all downhill from here. All right, guys. So now we have Dewey. Like I said earlier before, Lucky Luciano was just way too lax about the whole situation. So now Dewey has to come and threaten him. He tells Lucky that he's tired of talking to him about this problem. He has bodies everywhere. And if he doesn't do anything about it, he's going to launch an investigation on everybody. Like, you are included in that. So now Lucky has to do something, right? Because he see Dewey is like, he's had it up to here. Plus, he got, what's the dude's name? The guy I can't stand. I can't stand the memory of him. Edgar J. Right? So he got Hoover on his tail about this. And so he's really very pissed off. All right. So now Lucky calls a meeting with Bumpy, right? And he tells him that if they work together, Bumpy will benefit from political connections and he wouldn't find himself in the situation that Madam Queen is in right now, right? And Bumpy says no, he's an independent operator. So Lucky says, all right, so be it. But your move downtown affects me as well as Mr. Schultz. So now I want the two of you to meet. And this is not a request, right? So next we have the Queen, and she tells Bumpy that she will be getting paroled soon. But she wants to take back her position and she doesn't want him working for her anymore because clearly he does things the way she wouldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? There hasn't been that much blood on the streets when she was in charge. So she's not feeling this. And Bumpy tells her, you know what? No. When you, what's going to happen is when you come back, you'll basically have joint power with me. We're going to run it together because I'm not moving aside. So he done basically took over a whole daggone operation, guys. Okay. And honestly, I don't know what like she had, obviously she had power before, because Bumpy said, I never seen you fear no man. And it's like she kind of lost her touch. So yeah, I mean, if you're not about it anymore like that, you can't be in this game. So I'm not mad at Bumpy for taking it, because honestly, if she would have been back in charge, Dutch would have just moved her right the heck out the way. Bumpy was the one that was really giving up a real fight about it. All right. So now next we have Francine. Bumpy gets home and Francine got her bags packed and she's telling him that she's leaving. All right. Once Mary died, guys, folks done had enough. Okay. So she says if it wasn't for you, Mary would still be alive, right? And then before she leaves, she tells him that he used to write her poetry. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, girl, I get it, but remember how when he was wrapping the furs around you, you were happy. And then when he was giving you the pearls, you were happy. And yes, she does admit that she kind of got caught up in all that. So it happens, right? So anyway, let me before we move on, let me hear what Supreme is saying. I like that. Hi Daria. I like your input, Mr. Supremo. Bumpy was one of the few black folks that can go through the front door of the Cotton Club. Yeah, I believe that, but at that time, nah. In real life, when the queen got out of prison, she left the business. Bumpy took over her spot. Okay, cool. All right, so let's see where I am now, guys. I got to keep on with the stuff. Okay. All right. So here is what I was talking about how, there's so many different things going on when it comes to Bubs working for Dutch. Like he just has an argument with Foley. Excuse me, because as they're talking, they have meetings in front. Bubs is right there every time they have a meeting. So except for when he goes to the meetings with the 5 families, right? So he's right there and he's the only black guy in the room. And Foley was saying the N-word a lot. And he said, that's one more nigga I'm gonna have from you or whatever. So he said it again and he got up. Foley said it again. Bubs got up and what is his name? Dutchman had to diffuse the situation. And he's like, both of you cut it out. Like, I'm not playing, y'all need to make up and all of this stuff. So after this, he tells him and Foley were eating like sandwiches or whatever, right? Meats. It was like a turkey and cheese or salami and cheese, whatever it was, right? And there was scraps of food left. So when Bubs is leaving, the Dutchman tells him that he can take the scraps home to his family and feed it to them. He said, no, I'm good. I'm fine. He's like, no, that's okay. Take the scraps or whatever. Don't be proud. I was like, oh my gosh. So he had to wrap up the scraps and take him and all that. I was just like, this is sad. And the thing about it is after he just told this dude, don't say nigga again, all of this, he went and humiliated him at the end of the day. And that was the part that was just like, yo, how could you continue to work for this guy? Don't be proud. And so you just see him there rolling up the scraps. And I mean, it's disgusting. And honestly, this is the stuff that the house niggas used to eat. They used to eat the scraps from the table, but Bubs is a paid house nigga. He don't need to eat the scraps off the table. What are you gonna do? Hey, Kendall. This is when he made him take the sandwiches. I love this part. You love this part? I don't like it. I mean, even though I don't agree with Bubs, working for the Dutchman, I just hated this part because he humiliated him. And it's almost like he knew what he was doing too. Like, don't worry, I'm gonna get the last word because we whites, we gonna stick together at the end of the day. Even though he kind of told Foley, like, don't play with me, Foley. Foley, I'll do this and that to you. And Foley's like, what are you doing to me here? Whatever. But still, at the end of the day, watch this. Before he leaves, don't worry, I'm gonna have him take the scraps. And you saw the smug look on Foley's face. Foley was satisfied because at the end of the day, what? We sticking together. When it comes to this, these N-words, it's us against them. We the supreme. Hey, Moochie. So that was that, guys. But that's, that's it's sad. Let me just make sure that I am not losing track. Okay. So now, guys, Illinois is drunk. Mary's dead and he's drunk. And it's he is telling Bumpy that he has seen too many deaths in the last 6 months. Like, when you became in charge, stuff is really like the streets are just filled with blood, right? So he's also mad that Bumpy didn't come to Mary's funeral. And he also tells Bumpy that he wished that he never gave him that gun. Okay, so what I have to say about this part, let me just put my finger on my point before I go. So what I have to say about this part right here, about him being mad that he didn't come to Mary's funeral, I think it was also because of that situation that happened with Tyrone's mom. Tyrone's mother made him feel like dirt. So he put it in his mind like, it's not gonna make a difference with me showing up there. You know what I'm saying? And plus, I believe at this point, Bumpy knows that people are gonna look at him like it's his fault. So why am I showing up? Why am I showing up? And he also had this excuse with Mary. I'm sorry, not Mary, Francine, when they were laying down in the bed before the hitman came. They were like, Francine was saying, you don't come to church and all this stuff. And he says, listen, me and God have an arrangement. I don't go into his house and he don't come into mine. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing. He doesn't go into church. We saw in the very beginning when he tells the parole guy, or the guy who was in charge of actually signing the papers for him to get released. He said, I read your book talking about the Bible, and listen, the guy had his hand on the paper ready to sign, and it was dependent. Bumpy knew that it depended on his answer if the guy was going to sign or not. So Bumpy said, it's a good book, because he don't believe in the Bible. So he had to say it's a good book so he can get the heck up out of there. But anyway, like I said, I believe because of what happened between Tyrone's mom and how she almost spit on him. Yeah, it's a good book. So almost spitting on him and just making him feel low, and that it's his fault that these things have happened. I think that was another reason why he didn't bother to go pay his respects to Mary. So anyway, Bumpy says, take your drunk A home, right? Because listen, even though Illinois, and I loved his character, guys, even though he got the right now to be feeling how he's feeling, and he's actually speaking truths, he was dropping some truths right here, guys. All right, he was talking about how the Dutchman got blacks working for him, and it's just like, we all the fools here. All right, we're all like, everybody is doing the bidding of the white man, and Dutch is sitting back laughing at us because we killing each other, right? So the thing, but he told him, I done told you to take your drunk A home. Because honestly, when you get around people that they don't act a certain way until they're drunk, and then they just have this annoying way about them. Oh my gosh, I felt Bumpy in this moment. Like, get the heck out of here. Go. But it was sad anyway, guys. He left, and he left his gun. And that was a big mistake. All right. Big freaking mistake. Because once he left that gun, guys, Officer Foley got a hold of him. Okay. So he done meet Officer Foley. And the reason why I keep saying Officer Foley like this, guys, is because of Illinois. So when he leaves, he's walking his drunk behind in the street, wobbling and everything, without a freaking gun. Not sure if he would have been able to bust that daggone gun with his drunk behind any freaking way, right? But Illinois tells Bumpy that he's out the game before he leaves, right? So then when the officer gets up with him, he tells him that he's out the game as well. He's like, I'm through. I got good news. I'm through, right? So Officer Foley hits him, gets him in the car, and now we see that he is he's torturing him. And Bubs is not feeling this. He's telling Officer Foley to let Illinois go because he's not going to talk, but Foley is not trying to hear it. Bubs leaves because he does not want anything to do with this. Like, this is on you. You're by yourself, okay? And then we see that he tortures Illinois to death. So this is the part right here, guys, when stuff starts really like, I mean, it was already sad things that are going on, but when he dies, this is like the worst death in the whole movie. And it just starts to make me rethink, like, girl, are you sure this is one of your favorite movies? Are you sure? Because it's not the best ending, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, so Lucky once again, I'm sorry, not Lucky. Well, yeah, Lucky, but Bumpy has another sit down with Luciano and the five families, and they're going over the territories and things like that. But you know what? But Bumpy is saying no. I'm sorry. I appreciate y'all laying things down and all of that, laying things out, but as long as the Dutchman makes his presence uptown, then I cannot help but to make my presence be felt downtown. That's just how it is. Like, you gonna come up to my territory, I'm gonna cross over to yours. Like, it gotta be fair out here. But you know how these folks, they're not trying to play fair because they feel like you're supposed to bow down. Why? Because you're an N-word. So there you go. So what's his name is in this meeting as well, the Dutchman. He's in this meeting and he has a whole stink attitude and he leaves. But after he leaves, Lucky says to Bumpy, it's on you. Like, the next move is on you. See, because already the way the Dutchman has been acting, he kind of he basically don't have a hand to play anymore because he's just out of control. You know what I'm saying? And you can't reason with him. So there you go. Right. So let's move on. So now we have the scene where they find poor guy. What's his name? I'm sorry, guys. I'm starting to forget the names as I'm going because I'm kind of looking at the chat and trying to talk at the same time. I'm about to ignore you guys. So anyway, so now we see that they come and they tell Bumpy that they found Illinois, right? Because first they were saying that, Illinois was the only one that knew about the colors or had, the tickets, whatever, the numbers. What do you say? The number, the green, the slip, the color of the slip or something they said. Y'all can correct me. I don't really know, but they were basically trying to say he's the only one. So maybe he snitched, right? So Bumpy was not trying to hear that. He was like, that does not make him a stool pigeon. Okay. So they go and they find him and he is strung up, guys. And it's so sad. And he has a ticket in his mouth. Not a ticket. He got the slip in his mouth and it says no more secrets. So, it's tough. It's tough. It's really, really tough. So then they have to bring him down. So here's the thing. Somebody told one of the guys that there was like a worker nearby. And they said, I think it was like a bricklayer or something like that. And they said that they saw a cop stringing him up, with, I don't know if they said captain stripes or something, but basically he knew exactly who the heck it was that strung up his cousin. Okay. Officer Foley. Let me see what y'all talking about because y'all having conversations and I don't know what's going on. That's why Bub turned against Dutch. Oh, you talking about with the food thing? That's why that's basically what I was saying. Like, I feel like all of those things, like him being the butt of the joke, making him eat scraps and all of this is like, those were all things that he took into account when Bumpy came to him with the proposition, because it's like, yo, I'm not even treated well over here anyway. And Bumpy, he played chess. So when he went to Bubs, he went correct. He knew what to say to him. We didn't get the whole conversation. We heard the beginning of it, and we're going to talk about that. So now Officer Folder, yes, he gets caught with his pants down, and the girl is down there, and like he's saying, so I guess she stopped because she see Bumpy come through the door, and he talking about what you put it away for? I couldn't stand his accent. So he comes in and slits his throat. Like, yo, he wanted to be up close and personal. And he could have got killed himself because Officer Foley was still busting shots while he was grabbing his neck. Shoot. The girl over there screaming and everything with her freaking pinochle smeared mouth. But anyway, so as he walking out, leaving that area, he runs into Bubs in the hallway, just like pushes him up against the wall, like, did you put your hands on my cousin? He's like, no. He's like, I said that you put your hands on my family. I said, F no, right? So he's like, all right, nigga, you owe me. So he walking down and said, you owe me. And he's like, you ain't no better than me. You ain't no better than me. Okay, whatever. But you know, you feel that. That's why you feel you got a guilty conscience. So stop. Okay. So anyway, he meets up with him and you see him. Yeah, I'm not cursing, Mike. So stop. Anyway, so he sees him and he's right in front of his his little chessboard. And as we see on the series, The Godfather of Harlem, we also see that Bumpy likes to play chess. So he's been playing chess for years. Okay. And so he walks in there and he's telling me, he said, I was thinking, like, when I went away, you was one of the head people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to figure out, I'm trying to wrap this thing. I'm trying to figure all this out. Like, how the heck you working for Dutch and all of this, da-da-da. We don't hear the whole conversation, like I said, but you hear the beginning of the conversation and how he gets him to kind of see him. So he's like, smoke on this or whatever. Like, just hear me out. So whatever goes on, they come up with the plan and he gets Bubs in on it. And this is how he turns on the Dutchman. So now we get another meeting. Okay, because Lucky is not Lucky, but Bumpy is just, now he's on a roll. He don't put this whole freaking plan into place because it's time to get rid of the Dutchman. No more games. So he has another meeting with Luciano, and now Bumpy does want to work with him. Like, now we can definitely work together, right? So now, Cecil is the driver for Lucky, and he goes and tells what's his name, the Dutchman, about the meeting, right? But it was all a part of Bumpy's plan. So Bumpy pays off Cecil for coming in and telling the Dutchman that they had this meeting and everything, right? So now the Dutchman is feeling betrayed by Lucky because he claims him and Lucky are supposed to be friends, So he even said something to him before, like, don't F with me. I'm telling you, Luciano, don't F with me. Like, he just really thought he was a hard dude. And I like how, look, Lucky never, ever had, like, no sweat ever. Like, this guy is funny. He's a funny guy. Like, he talks so much. He's a funny guy. But if I really want to dead him, he will get it. And that's just that. And I like when people are confident like that, but you also got to be careful. And the thing about the Dutchman is that he just wasn't careful. He was reckless, So yeah, eating the pickle. Oh my gosh. That's another thing. I'm like, yo, there's too many annoying scenes with these guys in this movie. Eating the pickle, then you had the Dutchman eating the apple during the meeting. I was just like, I cannot deal with y'all. Oh, so anyway, guys. So now we have the Dutchman, and he kills Lucky's accountant. And I'm just like, for what? It's almost like you have to be careful with him, because anybody that he goes to, whether they have anything to do with it or not, you go and you ask questions, and if they don't know, he kills them anyway. And it's just like, why? I guess he's figuring I'm sending a message. I mean, it's just stupid. Like, killing the accountant for what? So they left the number 235 on the chair next to the accountant because the number means death, right? We also hear that from Illinois, who talked about what the number meant before. And when Schultz asked what 235 meant, Bugs was back there able to tell him. Okay. So he kills him, and that's that. So now it's time for the Dutchman to pay his dues. All the reckless stuff that he has done, honey. It's time for him to get what's coming to him. So one of his own men, the one right here that was eating the pickle looking all stupid, Schultz goes into the bathroom, and then he comes in there and he kills him. So it's almost like this guy has freaking superpowers for a minute, because he was just like getting up and walking out, and he was kind of like robotic with it, like coming down. He had to turn around the steps, like, and then go down the steps. And then he sits down, and then he turns around and looks at the guy. I mean, it was very creepy. And honestly, I wasn't satisfied with this kill. I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't satisfying for me, but it's done, right? But he just kind of looks at him and he smiles, this evil looking crazy smile. as if a demon is being released. Like, I don't know. Like, it was just a lot. And then he just slumps down, and that's it. So now he's done. And his boy goes outside after killing him, and he wants to get paid for doing that, for doing his boss. Do the walk. I'm not. That's all you get. The term. So he goes outside and he's like, all right, where's the money? And he's saying this to Lucky. So one of the guys in the passenger seat turns around and shoots this dude, okay? And that was that. Oh, here we go. And that was that. So I'm like, yeah, really, what did you expect, though? If you're somebody that can kill your boss, listen, it's a very high percentage that they're gonna off you after that. You cannot be trusted, okay? That's what I'm thinking with Valley. Like, what did Valley expect? Like, he probably would have got killed too. Like, I just don't, if Bumpy didn't figure out that he was poisoning, like, especially if he never has almonds on his, see, that's the thing with your stupid behind. You didn't know about that, right? You didn't know that this dude doesn't have almonds on his split, but y'all wind up putting almonds on the daggone split. Stupid. So anyway, yeah, he's done. He's a done deal, right? So now we have Bubs, and he comes and he tells Bumpy that he's dead, right? That Schultz is dead. The problem is solved. Harlem is restored, okay? The blacks got it back, all right? And he says, I'm going to finally get me some sleep. Because remember, I forgot to say that. So when he went and asked him, after he killed Officer Foley, he went and asked him, he said, how do you sleep at night, right? That's what Bumpy said to Bubs, how do you sleep at night? He said, how do you know I sleep? So now we have in this end conversation, the conclusion is now I'm going to go get me some sleep. Okay. And they shake hands, and that's that. Now, also, I want to say that Dewey is happy, right? Especially because Bumpy done gave him a nice little payoff. Okay. And that's that. So he's happy. He says that, what did he say? He said Bumpy got rid of the Dutchman and he used you to do it. He was saying that to Lucky. So basically, if I were you, I wouldn't go up to Harlem, okay? Because this man is smart. So beware, all right? So now Bumpy goes to pay his respects to Illinois, and this is him stepping into a church. Guys, you know that he doesn't want to go to anybody else, but he has to pay the respects to his cousin. He loves his cousin, and they grew up together and everything. They were close, so of course he was going to go pay his respects. It's just something he had to do. And if you guys can you guys see this picture good? Like, look at him. He really looks like a dead body for real. Like, it's just whew. It's crazy. And, he got messed up so bad, like his face and everything from what Officer Foley did to him. So, yeah, it's kind of swollen and beat up a little bit. But, yeah, pretty sad. So then when he leaves out, it's raining and everything. And the rain is just on his, it's just falling down on his face. And he's got his eyes closed. He's looking up to... Well, he's not looking up to the sky. He just got his eyes closed. And it's like he has this relief on him, like it's just like he just breathed almost the world off of his shoulders. Even though a lot of loss has come with it, he still feels a lot of relief. But I also think that he's still in a lot of pain. Of course, he has to be, had a lot of tears and all that other stuff. So there you have it, guys. It's a long movie. So, for me to be able to recap it in an hour, hey, pretty good, right? We're actually an hour and 8 minutes in, almost an hour and 9 minutes in. And that's pretty much that. All right. So let's see. Dutch didn't die for like a week in real life. He was in a state of delirium. Oh, thank you for that. Side note, they should have had Lawrence Fishburne play Bumpy in American Gangsta at the beginning of the movie to tie them together. Missed opportunity. Yeah. In the beginning of this video, I asked how would you guys have felt if we just kind of picked up where we left off, where we had Lawrence Fishburne play the part in Godfather of Harlem. How would you feel about that? But honestly, I love both of the actors, and I love what Lawrence Fishburne did in this movie. And I love what I'm sorry, not Bumpy Johnson, Forrest Whitaker is doing in Godfather of Harlem. Like, he's dope. The only thing that I don't really like with Forrest Whitaker is that he kind of has this Italian accent thing going on, which is weird to me. Like, you're not Italian, guy. Like, why do you have that accent? I don't understand. But anyway, it's all right. Moochie says I said he should have played Bumpy in Godfather of Harlem. I wonder if that's what you're talking about. Cause yeah, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have been mad. I actually would have been so hyped, especially since I love the movie Hoodlum. I would have been so hyped. But I really, really enjoy what I keep saying Lawrence Fishburne. I really, really enjoy why can I get his name? Forrest Whitaker. I really enjoy him. I like watching him. So let me see. I would love to have seen Denzel Fishburne in the scene together. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yes, Lawrence Fishburne. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, guys, that would have been so awesome. But like you said, missed opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And you never know, like sometimes like the way we think as the viewers, you wonder if these are the ideas of the creators. Did they ever have this idea? And if so, was it pitched and then there was something that happened that it didn't work out because Lawrence Fishburne could have been doing something else, or it wasn't paying enough, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, because look, Lawrence Fishburne he was on Blackish. So I just, I don't know why these things don't happen, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I guess you got to give certain people a chance. This is one of my favorite movies. Yeah, it is. And I have to take a break on watching it because I really do enjoy the movie. But like I said, after a while, it does get sad. Towards the end, it gets sad. I'll be like, oh gosh, okay, I can't deal with it. It's kind of like with me with Paid in Full. Like, I can't watch Paid in Full past the time that the brother gets kidnapped. Like, after that, I'm done with it. Before that, I'm here for the whole thing. Like, I just love it all. But once the brother gets kidnapped, no, I can't. After that, it's just too sad. So I don't really like sad stuff. But anyway, guys, that's it for tonight, for Throwback Thursday. It's 11:25, guys. I believe at 12 o'clock, BMF is coming on. Go and watch BMF and come back tomorrow at midnight so we can have the live recap discussion on my channel. And then on Sunday, we got my panel back in effect to talk about BMF. All right, guys. So I'm very, very glad to see all of you in the chat, and I really appreciate all of your love and coming through. Yes, money making Sunny. Supremo, thank you so much for your participation tonight. I really appreciate it. Kendall, thank you so much. Yes, said it could have been a conflict, of schedules. Moochie, love you, girl. Thanks for coming through. Mike Conley, thank you so much for coming through. Who else? Little Rock. And there's some other people here that are just probably chilling out, and I appreciate you and I love you, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care and be blessed. Bye-bye.